You ever reach into your pocket, pull out a handful of change, and just toss it on the dresser? Most of us do. But what if I told you that one single coin in that pile could be worth $1.5 million? Yes, you heard that right. A coin you've probably spent without thinking twice. Today, we're diving into a rare and incredibly valuable piece of modern American currency, the 2006 South Dakota quarter dollar. At first glance, it looks like any other quarter. But beneath its shiny surface lies a story of rarity, history, and unexpected riches. And if you stick around, I'll reveal the jaw-dropping details that separate the common from the million-dollar masterpiece. So before you rush to spend that spare change on coffee, let's talk about how this little coin might just buy you a house, a car, and still leave you with enough to retire early. Let's rewind the clock to 2006. Gas was about $2.50 a gallon. Facebook was still finding its legs. And the United States Mint was deep into the 50-state quarters program, a brilliant strategy to get Americans excited about coins again. When the South Dakota quarter was released as the last in 2006, most people barely glanced at it before dropping it into a vending machine. But among the millions struck in Philadelphia that year, denoted by the small letter P under the word "In God We Trust," something unusual happened. A handful of these coins weren't like the rest. Hold on to that question because we're about to peel back the layers of what separates a 25-cent coin from a $1.5 million treasure. South Dakota's quarter features Mount Rushmore, flanked by a Chinese ring-necked pheasant in flight, the state bird. It's beautifully crafted and full of symbolism. But in the coin world, design alone doesn't command millions. It's the unexpected imperfections and the elusive minting quirks that make collectors go wild. In some rare 2006 South Dakota quarters, microscopic errors occurred. Misaligned dies. Double die obverse. Off-center strikes. A few even show partial collar errors, tiny minting missteps that happened during production. These are not just anomalies. They're golden tickets, and here's where it gets exciting. These flawed coins were minted in Philadelphia and released into circulation. That means they're still out there, possibly lying unnoticed in a coin jar or behind a drawer in your house right now. Now let's talk about the real head-turner, the specific 2006 South Dakota quarter that's been valued at a staggering $1.50 million. The coin was discovered by a retired railroad engineer from Pennsylvania. He'd been casually collecting state quarters, nothing serious. One morning over coffee, he noticed something odd about the shine and strike of one quarter. It seemed crisper, brighter, as if it had never been touched. After months of research and consultations with professional graders, the verdict was in. The coin featured an ultra-rare full-step double die reverse. In layman's terms, the design had been struck twice by the minting die, creating a shadowed image visible to the naked eye. Combine that with its uncirculated condition and flawless luster, and you have a unicorn among coins. This coin went to auction, and the hammer dropped at $1.5 million. Just imagine. A quarter turning someone into a millionaire overnight. But here's the real kicker. Experts believe there are more of them out there. Start with the mint mark. Look just below the motto, "In God We Trust." If it has a P and looks pristine, keep digging. Use a magnifying glass to inspect the edges and images. Check for doubling on the letters, especially in South Dakota and around Mount Rushmore. If you see ghosting, shadows, or anything that looks off, you might just be staring at a small fortune. Also, flip it. Examine the coin's edges. If they seem incomplete or you notice a slight tilt in the image alignment, you could be onto something special. Don't guess. Coin grading services like PCGS or NGC can confirm the value, and trust me, they've turned average folks into wealthy sellers more than once. Now, this isn't just a one-time miracle. Across the country, people are finding out that their old change isn't so ordinary. There's the story of a Vietnam vet in Texas who discovered a rare South Dakota quarter in a stack of parking meter change. Or the single dad in Ohio who checked his son's piggy bank and found a coin now appraised at over $800,000. Real people. Real stories. Real money. They all had one thing in common: they took the time to look, and the truth is, with over 500 million South Dakota quarters minted, there are more hidden treasures waiting to be uncovered. Well, in the world of numismatics, rarity and condition are everything. But there's something deeper too. These coins are pieces of history. They capture a moment in time, American craftsmanship, legacy, and the beauty of flaws. Collectors aren't just buying metal. They're buying mystery. They're chasing the thrill of holding something no one else has. And when a coin like the 2006 South Dakota quarter defies the odds, it becomes a symbol of the unexpected paths to wealth. For many, coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a doorway to financial freedom. Yes, seriously. Go through every jar, drawer, old wallet, and shoebox. Look for quarters dated 2006 with a P mint mark. If you find one in great condition, set it aside then, photograph it, document the condition, and contact a trusted coin appraiser or grading service. They'll walk you through verification. Even if your coin isn't worth $1.5 million, it could still fetch thousands. Keep looking. Because the more you dig, the better your odds. And you never know, tomorrow's morning coffee might just come with $1 million surprise. Here's the bottom line. A simple South Dakota quarter from 2006, the kind that's been hiding in plain sight, has already made one person rich beyond belief. And there could be more waiting to be discovered. So before you spend another coin without a second thought, take a moment. Inspect. Investigate. Imagine. Because sometimes, treasure isn't buried in the ground, it's jingling in your pocket, and who knows? The next 25 cents you what I'm about to tell you might just turn your next grocery store penny into a retirement plan. Yep, today we're talking about a little copper coin that's punching way above its weight, the 1968 Lincoln Memorial penny, with a mint mark so small most people miss it, but with a value so big, you'd better sit down. And now I know what you're thinking, come on, it's just a penny. How in the world can a 1-cent coin from the 60s be worth over $1.3 million? Well, hang tight, because not only am I gonna break it down for you, but by the end of this video, you'll be checking your change like a hawk with a caffeine addiction. I'll also tell you a funny little story about how I once gave away a valuable coin at a gas station without realizing it until 3 years later. Spoiler alert, I'm still emotionally recovering. Alright, let's dive in before someone else beats you to that penny jackpot. The 1968 Lincoln penny is part of the Memorial Design Series. You know, the one Lincoln's head on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. These coins were minted in San Francisco, hence the little s under the date. Now millions of these were made. Around 258 million to be more exact. So what makes one of them worth over $1 million? That's the twist in the tale. It's all about rarity, condition, and errors. Alright, so this isn't your run-of-the-mill penny you tossed in the Taco Bell tip jar. The $1 million versions of the 1968 penny fall into one or more of these rare categories. Some of these coins were struck with what's called a double die. That means during the minting process, the image on the coin was stamped twice, just a little bit off, creating a ghosted or doubled effect on letters or numbers. On some 1968 pennies, you can see this especially in the word Liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," or even Lincoln's profile. Imagine a penny where it looks like Lincoln had a rough night and showed up blurry-eyed on the coin. That's money, baby. The truly valuable 1968 pennies are in near-perfect condition, what collectors call MS67 or MS68. That means they've been preserved better than leftover pizza in a bachelor's fridge. No scratches, no fingerprints, and absolutely no signs of wear. They basically have to look like they just rolled off the mint yesterday. They actually grade these coins like they're in a beauty pageant. The shinier and crisper they look, the more zeros get tacked on the price tag. Some 1968 pennies were struck as proof coins, which means they were made specifically for collectors with extra care and polish. They usually come in special sets. But a few of these proof coins had errors like missing mint marks or extreme doubling, making them unicorns in the world of pennies. Now for the good stuff. One specimen of the 1968 penny, a double die obverse in blazing mint condition, was auctioned off for over $1.3 million. That's enough for a luxury car, a new house, or 130 million actual pennies. Either way, you're not walking out of the coin shop empty-handed if you've got one of these. Look for 1968 with a tiny s below it. That's San Francisco, not Superman. Especially on the word Liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," or the date itself. If it looks promising, send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll give it a score and confirm whether you're sitting on a treasure or just another penny. A few years ago, I was on a road trip, and I stopped at this dusty gas station in the middle of nowhere. I grabbed a soda and handed the cashier a couple bucks and some loose change. I didn't think anything of it. Fast forward 3 years later, I'm digging through old coin rolls and learning about rare pennies, and I realize, clear as day, I had once seen a 1968 penny with clear doubling. It was in the exact change I had that day. I remembered it because I actually paused and thought, this one looks kinda weird. And then I gave it away with a Gatorade that could have been a 7-figure soda. I still drive by that gas station like it's a haunted house. So the moral of the story, always check your change, even if it's sticky. If you think you've got one of these treasures, don't just toss it on eBay for $10. Get it graded and then shop it to major coin dealers or auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers. Those are the places where million-dollar coins go to find new homes, and where you might just walk out a millionaire. A single penny, the 1968 Lincoln Memorial, hiding out in pockets, drawers, and old coffee cans, that could be worth over $1.3 million. It's like treasure hunting without the shovels or the eye patches. All you need is a sharp eye, a little luck, and maybe some reading glasses if you're over 40. And listen, even if you don't find a $1 million penny, this hobby is one of the most fun ways to trick yourself into thinking you're being productive while you're really just sorting coins in your pajamas. And now, if you enjoyed this video and you want more tips on rare coins, collecting strategies, and how to turn pocket change into a bank account with more commas than a grammar lesson, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give the video a like if you've ever lost a valuable coin or even just a pair of sunglasses you still haven't forgiven yourself for. Check those pennies. You never know. The next time you drop a cent, you might just be dropping a fortune. Thanks for watching, Coin Crew. I'll see you next time with more stories, more laughs, and more coins worth crazy money. What if I told you that a single quarter, just 25 cents, could be worth more than most people make in a lifetime? Not a dream. Not a myth. A real coin. A 2016 shiny quarter with a P mint mark and its current market value? A staggering $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.8 million. You're cleaning out your dresser drawer, sorting through some spare change. You spot a quarter with a familiar image, a natural rock formation, a hawk soaring above. You think nothing of it, but what if that exact coin was your ticket to wealth? Let's go deep into this story. Stay with me until the end, because I'll not only reveal how and why this coin is so valuable, I'll also show you how to identify one in your own home, and I'll tell you the story of a man who turned spare change into generational wealth. The year is 2016. The US Mint released a quarter under the America the Beautiful series, dedicated to the majestic Shawnee National Forest in Illinois. At the front of the coin, as always, bore the proud profile of George Washington. But the reverse, that's where the story begins. A soaring red-tailed hawk glides over Camel Rock, one of Shawnee's most iconic natural structures. It was a beautiful tribute to American nature, but no one expected what happened next. Some of those quarters weren't like the rest, something was off, and coin collectors noticed. Now let's talk about that little P, the mint mark of the Philadelphia Mint. To most, it's just a tiny letter. But to collectors, it's a signpost, a clue, because the Philadelphia Mint, though it mass produces coins, occasionally releases coins with errors, and errors, my friends, can be worth a fortune. On a normal day, thousands of coins pass through the machines, but in 2016, some Shawnee quarters left the mint with microscopic flaws, double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, imperfections invisible to the naked eye, but worth a king's ransom to the right buyer. One of those flawed quarters, a 2016 P Shawnee with an ultra-rare die error, was sold in a private auction for $1.8 million, and it wasn't even in a museum-grade collection. It came from someone's pocket change. Let's rewind for a moment. Meet Charles, a retired mechanic from Indiana. He wasn't a collector. He didn't attend auctions or study coin catalogs. All he had was a love for nature and a habit of tossing spare change into a coffee can. One winter morning, while sorting through coins for the laundromat, he noticed a particularly sharp detail on a Shawnee quarter. It looked different. cleaner, sharper, but he didn't know why. So he asked his grandson, a college student studying finance, to take a look together. They searched online. What they found stunned them both. They discovered that a small number of shiny quarters had been struck with what numismatists call a rare double die obverse. And even rarer, this one had what's known as a retained cut error. An anomaly where the die cracks and part of it breaks off, leaving a raised lump on the coin's surface. Rare, beautiful, and highly desirable. Silence, then disbelief, then a single word: jackpot. Within 3 months, that one coin, once destined for a vending machine, became the centerpiece of a major private auction. Bidders from around the globe flew in. The final bid came from a Swiss collector. $1.8 million. He paid off his mortgage, bought a lakeside home, and set up college funds for all 5 of his grandchildren. Let's break it down. You want the Philadelphia Mint mark, the letter P. Look just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Second, check for visual errors. A strong magnifying glass can reveal a doubling of letters in Liberty or In God We Trust. Extra thickness around the date. Any strange raised bumps or shapes off center. Alignment of the design. But here's the key: even the tiniest error can be the difference between 25 cents and $1.8 million. There are hundreds of thousands of 2016 P shiny quarters still in circulation, and at least a few dozen with potential millionaire value. That means your old change jar could be a treasure chest. And there's more. Collectors have begun whispering about a newly discovered variant, one that hasn't hit the open market yet. Some say it's even rarer than Charles's coin. What makes it different? No one knows yet, but rumors say it involves a reverse side engraving error. In a world where people chase wealth through risk, investment, and hustle, sometimes all it takes is awareness, the right knowledge, and the right coin. The 2016 P shiny quarter stands as proof that value can hide in plain sight. In your drawer, your glove compartment, even the couch cushions. So before you spend that quarter on a coffee or drop it in a tip jar, take one last look, because the next 25-cent piece you hold could be your $1.8 million miracle. Check your pockets, check your change, and never underestimate the power of a forgotten coin. Another 25 cents. What if I told you one specific quarter from the year 2000 could be worth $1.1 million today? Not a myth, not a coin collector's fantasy. A real possibility sitting in someone's pocket change right now. We're talking about the 2000 P New Hampshire State Quarter. Minted with what most would call ordinary intent, yet today extraordinary value. And here's the kicker: most people pass right over it, never realizing what they're holding in their hands. Stick with me through this journey, because in the next few minutes, we'll unlock the history, mystery, and market power of this quarter, and why it could completely change your life. Let's roll back the clock to the late 1990s. The US Mint launched one of its most successful initiatives ever, the 50-state quarters programmed. Collectors and the general public went wild. Every time a new state was released, people scrambled to find them. In 2000, the third year of the series, the Mint released 5 new state quarters. Among them, New Hampshire. And now, at face value, the New Hampshire quarter was just another installment, but behind its design lay subtle details, hidden markers, and extremely rare minting errors that would skyrocket its value from pocket change to millionaire tier. But before we get to that, let's talk about the symbolism on this coin, because that's where the first clue begins. The reverse side of the New Hampshire quarter features the Old Man of the Mountain, a natural rock formation that had stood in Franconia Notch for centuries. It also includes the state motto, "Live free or die." Now, think about this for a moment. This wasn't just a quarter, it was a message. A rugged mountain face, standing tall with a bold motto representing independence, resilience, and legacy. But here's where things get interesting: that mountain no longer exists. It collapsed in 2003. Making this quarter not just currency, but a historical time capsule of something lost forever. So what happens when a coin features a design of something that's gone, combined with a rare minting error? You get a collector's dream. The P Mint mark tells us it was minted in Philadelphia, and while millions of these quarters were produced, only a tiny handful had something different. Something the average person could never see at first glance. Some had double dies. Others were struck off-center. Some had weak strikes, and a few even featured planchet errors, where the metal used wasn't correct. One coin, just one, graded with a perfect strike, preserved in flawless condition, and carrying a specific double die reverse error, was recently valued at $1.1 million. And yes, it came from the 2000 P batch. Now let's go deeper, because there's a twist in this story that even seasoned collectors didn't see coming. Rarity, condition, demand. And the story, that specific 2000p quarter was certified by a top grading authority as MS68, almost unheard of for coins that circulated, combined that with a visual error where the lines of the mountain appeared doubled, and the phrase live free or die slightly distorted. And you've got a 1 in a billion piece. IT wasn't discovered in a vault, IT wasn't locked in a bank, IT was found in a change jar in a man's kitchen drawer. A 63-year-old retired mechanic from Ohio, he was cleaning out old boxes when he spotted a quarter that looked off. He nearly tossed it aside, but something told him to hold on. Weeks later, he was sitting in a coin grading office. Months later, he was sitting in front of a $1.1 million check, all because of one overlooked quarter. And now here's where you want to grab a magnifying glass. Literally, at first, look for the P mint mark just above the year 2000. Then, inspect the detail of the mountain face. If it appears slightly doubled, especially around the nose, eye, or forehead, you could be staring at a double die. And next, check the edges. Are they smooth? Slightly off-center? That could indicate a planchet or strike error. And finally, look at the motto, live free or die. Some rare ones show faint shadowing around the letters. That's your telltale sign. Even without visible flaws, if your quarter has zero scratches, strong luster, and no wear, it could be worth grading. But here's where the plot thickens. First, do not take it to your local pawn shop. Your best move is to get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. These are industry leaders. Once graded, you can auction it through a certified coin auction house like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers. Avoid online scams. If someone offers you a few $100, walk away. They'll pay handsomely for the right coin, and if you don't find anything today, don't lose hope, because the next story I'll tell you happened to a retired truck driver in Tennessee. He turned his entire quarter collection into a six-figure retirement fund, but we'll come back to him. Simple, because this is about more than coins. It's about recognizing value where others don't. It's about being aware, about taking action, and about never assuming that anything is too small to matter. That drawer of spare change, that coffee can in your garage, they might just hold the golden ticket you've been looking for, and if not now, maybe tomorrow, because with every coin that passes through your hands, you get a new chance. So the next time you get change at the gas station, take a second glance, check for that 2000p New Hampshire quarter or feel the weight of it. Look at the design, because it might not be just a coin, it might be your future. A piece of metal that tells a story. A quarter that could change your life, and just maybe, it already has. Subscribe for more coin secrets most collectors will never share, and in our next video, we'll reveal the 1982 no mint mark penny, worth up to $1 million, and why the government wants you to believe it doesn't exist. What if I told you that sitting in your drawer, collecting dust, or hiding in your old pocket change is a coin, worth over $1 million? Yes, you heard that right, not gold, not ancient Roman silver, but a modern US quarter. From the year 2012. This is the story of the 2012 Denali National Park quarter. A coin minted in Denver, that most people spent on soda, but a rare few are now trading for a life-changing $1.20 million. Now, before you run to your car's cup holder or tear apart your coin jar, stick with me, because there's more to this tale than just numbers. There's history, mystery, mistakes, and even a few secrets the US Mint probably doesn't want you to know. And by the end of this video, you might be digging through your change with a flashlight in one hand and dreams of a new house in the other. To truly appreciate the 2012 Denali quarter, we need to rewind to 2010. That year, the United States Mint launched something bold: the America the Beautiful Quarters program. A 12-year series honoring America's national parks and historic sites. Each year, 5 new designs, each quarter representing a unique piece of U.S. land, from mountains to monuments. And in 2012, Alaska's Denali National Park got its moment. A quarter was born, featuring a powerful grizzly bear standing against the backdrop of Mount McKinley, the highest peak in North America. But here's where it gets interesting. Among the millions of Denali quarters minted in Denver in 2012, a tiny number were struck differently, very differently. That's where the value begins. Let's pause for a moment and ask the big question. The 2012 Denali quarter that shook the coin collecting world wasn't just rare, it had a die error, a misstrike so unusual, so perfectly flawed, that it became a one-of-a-kind piece. Imagine a coin where the grizzly bear's details look bolder than usual, the mountains slightly distorted, the edges off-center, a clash mark, a ghost image. Some experts say it was struck on the wrong planchet. Others believe it was a double die error, but one thing's for sure, only one verified specimen of this particular error has surfaced so far. A private collector dropped over $1 million to make it his. A retired firefighter from Billings, Montana stops at a gas station during a road trip in 2019. He hands over a crumpled $10 bill for snacks. and gets a few quarters back. He notices one feels thicker. He looks at it, Denali Bear Denver Mint Mark. Something's off of that slight error in design. That strange feel made him curious enough to bring it home and get it looked at. Weeks later, after authentication, grading, and auction listings, he's holding a check with more zeros than he's ever seen in his life, from a gas station quarter to millionaire, and just like that, one man's change became his second retirement fund. Now here's where you come in, because the difference between a regular 2012 Denali quarter worth 25 cents, and the rare error version worth $1.20 million, is tiny, but to a trained eye, it's like spotting a Picasso at a yard sale. Flip the coin and check for sharpness and detail. Does the bear look slightly doubled? Do the mountain lines shimmer unnaturally? If the design seems off-center or the reading around the edge looks uneven, pay close attention. That valuable specimen had a silver-like gleam even though it was clad. Why? Some suspect it was struck on a leftover silver planchet. Yes, a silver planchet left over from older proof sets. Accidents like that can turn ordinary coins into treasures, and if you're unsure, coin grading services like PCGS or NGC can give you the final word. If you send in the right coin, your quiet life might not stay quiet for long. Now here's a twist that adds fuel to the fire. The US Mint never officially acknowledged an error run of the Denali quarter. Some numismatists believe a rogue batch of blanks from a discontinued silver proof set was accidentally fed into Denver's press lines late one night. Others say it could have been an internal test strike that escaped the facility. One theory even suggests a Mint employee deliberately struck the error for fun or fortune and released it into circulation. Whatever the truth, one thing's clear: the coin exists, and the mystery only adds to its allure. So now you have to wonder, that original 2019 sale? It hit the headlines in the coin world, sold for $1.20 million, but in 2025, experts say it could be worth even more, and more people are collecting. Fewer of these error coins are available. And as time passes, the legend grows. Coins like these don't just sell. They start bidding wars. They make history. Some forecast the next sale could breach $1.5 million, or even $2 million if it hits a global stage. Imagine that, a coin most people ignore turning into a global collector's trophy. Set aside your 2012 quarters. Separate the ones with a D mint mark. Get a good magnifying glass. Inspect for doubling, off-center strikes, unusual weight, or shine. Weigh it. The regular quarter weighs 5.67 grams. If it's lighter or heavier, it could be on the wrong planchet. Check online forums. Upload clear photos. And never clean it. That can drop its value in half instantly. Send it to a grading service for authentication. Spend the $50 because that small investment could turn into $1 million payday. In a world where people are chasing Bitcoin, stocks, and lottery tickets, sometimes the most valuable treasure is right under your nose. The 2012 Denali quarter isn't just a coin, it's a symbol that even in something as ordinary as spare change, there's room for a miracle. And maybe, just maybe, your miracle is waiting in your glove box. So don't ignore your change. Don't throw your coins in a drawer without a second look. You're digging through a dusty old jar of coins in the garage. Maybe you're hunting for spare change for a coffee run, or maybe you're just cleaning out some old clutter. Then suddenly, there it is. A shiny but worn 2006 quarter with a P mint mark. Yes. $1.25 less than $1 in face value, but over $1 million in real market value. This isn't a made-up treasure hunt. This is a real coin, a real opportunity, and it's sitting in people's kitchen drawers, glove compartments, and old coffee cans all across America. So sit back. Because over the next 30 minutes, we're going deep into the world of the 2006 P Colorado $quarter coin. You're about to learn why this coin is worth a fortune, how to identify the $1 million version, what makes it so rare, and how it could change your life literally overnight. You'll want to stick around until the end. There's a twist coming that you will not see coming. It was the year when the US Mint released the 38th coin in the 50-state quarters program. Colorado's turn had come, and boy did it leave a mark. The reverse of the coin showed a breathtaking depiction of the Rocky Mountains. Jagged peaks rising high above the earth, etched with intricate detail. Underneath? The words, "Colorful Colorado." But while millions of these quarters were struck and circulated, something unusual happened at the Philadelphia Mint. A tiny mistake. A mechanical hiccup. A minting anomaly so small that most people never even noticed. Yet, this error would lead to one specific type of 2006 P Colorado quarter being valued at a staggering $1.30 million. Let that sink in. One tiny, invisible misstep led to one of the most valuable modern coins in U.S. history. Now here's where the magic begins. The $1 million 2006 P Colorado quarter contains a rare error known among collectors as a triple strike die clash with misaligned obverse. That's a mouthful. So let's break it down. When coins are made, two dies, one for the front, one for the back, smashed together with a metal blank between them. Boom! That's how the image is pressed onto the coin, but in a small batch of Colorado quarters struck at the Philadelphia Mint, something went wrong. The dies weren't properly aligned. Worse yet, they clashed together without a blank between them, leaving ghost-like images stamped into each other. Then, instead of being scrapped, these flawed dies were still used to produce quarters. Quarters with strange extra lines, double details, and ghost images, especially on Washington's face. On some coins, you can even see mountain peaks faintly peeking into the obverse. These aren't minor scratches or dents. These are mechanical fingerprints. Accidents that turned these coins into unique, irreplaceable artifacts. Collectors call them die clash anomalies. And when it comes to the 2006 P Colorado quarter, they're worth a fortune. But here's the kicker: not every error coin is created equal. Some are worth a few $100. Some may be a couple thousand. But only one known specimen, a flawless triple strike, full die clash anomaly in mint condition, was sold in a private collector's circle for a market valuation of $1.3 million. That coin came from a coin roll pulled from circulation. Yes. That could have been a grocery store quarter. You grab a magnifying glass and a decent desk light. You'll need to examine both sides carefully. BEA 2006 quarter with a P, meaning it was struck in Philadelphia. No D, no S. Just P. Next, inspect George Washington's face. Is there a faint, almost ghost-like image overlaid? Extra lines, strange doubling, or fine scratches that don't look random? Especially between the eye and forehead. Now turn the coin over. Look for mountain misalignments, odd shadows or duplications, or signs that the peaks extend too far into the rim or lettering. Sometimes, you may notice a slight off-center strike, where the image feels tilted or not fully centered. If your coin shows even two of these signs, you could be holding something truly special. But before you call the auction houses, hold on. Because even $1 million coins need one last ingredient to unlock their value. A man in Ohio found what he believed was a valuable error coin. It had all the hallmarks: die clash, obverse shadowing, and a perfect P mint mark. Sir, this coin would have been worth six figures if you hadn't cleaned it. That's right. He tried to polish it up with toothpaste and a toothbrush, thinking he was doing it a favor. But in the coin world, cleaning a coin is like painting over the Mona Lisa. It destroys its originality. Collectors and auction houses look for mint-state condition. No scratches, no chemical cleaning, no altered surfaces. So if you find a 2006 P Colorado quarter that fits the profile, leave it alone. Don't touch it more than you have to. Store it safely. Use coin gloves or a soft cloth, because in this game, condition could mean the difference between $20 and $1.30 million. Now, what happens if you find a match? Who do you contact? And how do you make sure you don't get ripped off? That's coming up next, and you'll want to hear this part, because too many people lose their fortune at this step. Finding a rare coin is one thing. Selling it for full value? That's a whole different ballgame. Get the coin graded. That means sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These are the top two authorities in the world of coin authentication. They will examine the coin, confirm the error, and assign it a grade from poor to perfect mint state. Once graded, your coin is entered into a registry, and now it's official. You've got a certified piece of U.S. mint history. Contact a rare coin auction house like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers. These firms specialize in rare coins and know exactly how to handle $1 million pieces. Let them market it. Don't try to sell it on eBay or Craigslist. That's how people get scammed or severely underpaid. Auction houses will get it in front of serious collectors, international investors, and museums. That's where the real money lies. And now, here's the cliffhanger I promised you earlier, because what if I told you there's a secret second version of the 2006 P Colorado quarter that's even more rare, and it's still out there? In 2023, a coin enthusiast at a small show in Nevada noticed something odd. He had a 2006 P Colorado quarter that didn't match any of the known die clashes or errors. It had a rotated reverse. The back image was spun slightly to the right when compared to the front. Experts believe this may be a rotated die error, a rare and undocumented variant of the same quarter. As of now, only one example has been verified. And it hasn't been auctioned yet. Between $800,000 and $1.5 million, depending on demand to IT, means every 2006 P Colorado quarter you find might not just be rare, it might be the only one of its kind. The final chapter hasn't been written yet, and it just might be written in your hands. A single quarter. From 2006. Worth $1.30 million. Not because it's old. Not because it's gold, but because it was born from a mistake and preserved through time. But if you're a man in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, or even 70s, chances are you've handled one of these quarters without even realizing it. So the next time